Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Eugene Honrath from Shadow Warriors. I've got Donnie Dunn here. How are you, man?
What's going on, Eugene? How are you, sir?
Good, good, good. I just wanted to do a real quick segment. We know we've had some situation in Orlando, an active shooter situation with a lot of details coming out about it. A lot of people see you as an expert or having some experience in these situations. Tell me a little bit about you. Tell me a little bit about your company, and then we'll get into kind of the specifics of this segment.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I guess it starts out. I've been a lifelong firearms enthusiast, hunter, fisherman. I was a champion trap shooter when I was a kid growing up, and I've always been involved in self-defense and shooting and whatnot. About 10 years ago, mountain biking, I met a gentleman named Darren McCall. Everybody calls him D-Mac. And we became pretty good friends. Well, it turns out Darren is a 28-year special operations veteran in the military. Been there, done that kind of guy. He's deployed in Afghanistan, multiple tours, deployed in Iraq. He was also a law enforcement officer and still currently carries a badge. And at the time I met him, he was the lead instructor of what's called the Florida Counter Drug Program up at Camp Blanding in North Florida.
Okay.
And that was a joint venture between the Florida Department of Law Enforcement and the military, where basically all of the SWAT teams and U.S. Marshal CERT teams would come up and use their world-class facilities. And Darren, along with his team, would instruct them on modern firing, shooting techniques, entry, law enforcement, sniping, and whatnot. So Darren and I became fast friends. Darren took me under his wing because I was your typical gun guy. I had a bunch of great, cool guns. I went to the range and did my thing and thought I was safe. And Darren basically said, "Look, man, you don't know what you don't know." And I was the first civilian that he actually ever trained, and he really took me and opened my eyes to a lot of things. So at his tenure at the counter drug program, Darren saw all these different various SWAT teams and law enforcement teams come through, and they all had different gear, they had different equipment, they had different guns. So Darren, being the genius kind of guy he is, he speaks three languages and whatnot, started writing some very, very detailed and in-depth articles on a group called Sniper Side. Really, very quickly, because of his experience and his detail, he got a cult following. And not long after that, the industry kind of took hold of that and heard that. So they started sending him equipment to test. And through that testing, he wound up starting a company called RangerProof, which originally was conceived as a good housekeeping seal of approval for equipment. If it was RangerProof, then you could take it, slam it, break it, throw it around, whatever. If it made it and it did its job, it was RangerProof. Along the way, Darren really had an idea in his mind of what he thought would be the perfect combat carbine. And over a period of time, Darren and I and a few other veterans and patriots, we all came together and we founded RangerProof Arms, which is a current company that I'm part of. At RangerProof Arms, we make several different AR-15 based carbines. We make an ELC model, an RPC model, and we also make a 7.62 or 308. Along the way, given all the experience, I mean, I've got Army Ranger Hall of Fame nominee as our CEO. We've got Darren. We've got a couple Rangers in the group. We wanted to start offering more for responsible American shooters and law enforcement officers. So we started, and I was spearheading this. We designed knives and have knives manufactured under our name. We also make slings. And probably one of the biggest parts of our company is our training division, which we call RangerProof Academy. And in RangerProof Academy, we took all of these various different experts in different fields and wanted to give a really holistic and comprehensive approach to training. So we do things like a 2-day carbine course where you put on all your gear and you get out and you run your carbine in various different scenarios. We teach a world-class and one of my personal favorites, combat handgun course, where we actually teach people how to use, after you get your concealed permit, how to use your handgun and how you become proficient with it. But along with these classes, we also teach classes like preparedness. And when I say preparedness, I don't mean doomsday preppers, but how to prepare against a hurricane, how to prepare against a terrorist attack, how to prevent against pretty much anything that may come down the pipe. We also teach survival skills. That's kind of Bear Grylls, lack of a better term, type things. We teach handgun and edge weapon combat classes. So we really teach a multitude of classes, a medical class. We teach these so people can live safer and more confident lives. And we try to avoid the word tactical because we're all civilians now. We're all citizens. We just want to help people from that standpoint.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that the more you can make it citizen friendly, the better. So take sometimes that tactical word is a little
Right.
scary.
Well, it's cliche.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
true. It is. It is. It means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. So where are you guys located, and how can people get in touch with you?
Sure. Well, our office is located in Tampa. We're actually near a big gun range called Shooters World. Our website, it's up now currently, but we're actually redesigning it and redoing our website. But it's www.rangerproof.com,
Okay.
and that has all the different links to all the various products and trainings that we offer. And also, we have a pretty big social media presence. We have about 90,000 followers on Instagram, and also on Facebook. Obviously, we have under the RangerProof guys, so we're pretty accessible. And myself and my partners in the company, we always try to make ourselves available. In fact, today, as you can imagine, with the events in Orlando, I've been very, very busy talking and speaking with people all day.
Yeah, so I appreciate you taking the time today. I mean, with the events or with the event that was in Orlando, active shooter at a nightclub, 50 wounded, or sorry, 50
Slaughtered.
slaughtered, dead, and then 53 or more injured. What this kind of came about is Orlando's only an hour or so away from Tampa, where we both live.
We've
Um,
all been
we've all, yeah, I
there.
mean, a lot of people have been Orlando, Disney World, that area. But it kind of hit home today for me specifically, because one of my best friends is in the gay community, and he has a lot of friends that either frequent that club. Now he's in Tampa, but that frequent
Sure.
that club, um, and or were there last night. There were a couple of his friends that were there last night, so as you can imagine, last night and this morning wasn't the best time for him. So I wanted to talk to you today about, first the situation and a couple tips that you can give us about if we were in that situation, and then secondly, what's the first step if someone, a regular citizen, a regular person, let's say a teacher or a banker or just a regular construction worker wants to start preparing or taking that first step. So, you know, about the specifics of the event, everything's still coming out. But if we were in an active shooter situation, what are some tips that you could give us that we could remember, that we could put into action if we're ever, God forbid, if we're ever in that situation, that we could put into action?
Um, that's a very good question, a very open-ended question, because
Yeah.
there's so many, there's millions of possibilities and different scenarios you can run into. Now, the government, the FBI, Department of Homeland Security, they like to teach a run, hide, and fight system, which at the end of the day is really pretty much most people's only option. You run, you try to run far away from it as fast as you can. You try to hide, lock yourself in a door like they put schools on lockdown. And at the end, at the last resort, unarmed or not, then you fight. You try to overwhelm and you die fighting. And hopefully, if you attack in a group or a group, you get a group of people together, maybe one, maybe two will pass away and the threat's neutralized. But, I don't ever want to be in that situation if possible. So the biggest thing that people need to learn is to exercise awareness. We call it living in condition yellow. Condition yellow is just basically being aware of your surroundings and your situation at all times.
Knowing where the
Looking
exits,
around.
knowing where the exits are, that kind of stuff, or situational in
Yeah,
terms of the
no,
people.
that's a part of it. Situational. You stereotype. You look around. I mean, and I hate to say this because I have Muslim friends, I have Arabic friends, but if a guy is sweating and he looks nervous and he looks like he's of Arabic descent, you need to have your flag up a little bit. I mean, that's just the reality of the world we live in. Always look for an exit. Always think of a scenario in your brain. Uh,
Oh,
you
you
there?
there? Yep, we're there.
Whenever I go into a place, I'm always, I call it role playing because the brain is a funny thing. If you actually And I learned this mountain biking years ago when I was mountain biking and I was going through really technical trails and up and over roots and whatnot. I was looking right down on my feet and I would see something and I would almost cause myself to wreck because I saw it and boom, and I would hit it and go over. And a friend of mine said, hey man, you got to program your brain, look ahead and not look down at your feet and see yourself riding through these areas. And when I started doing that, it changed everything. And that's a psychological thing you can do. You can actually go into a situation, see something unfold, and program in your brain, if this happens, I'm going to do this. If this happens, I'm going to do this. And in a split second reaction, you'll actually do that. So you need to be aware. You need to be, if you're going to go into a concert, you need to make sure they've got good security. If you're going to go into a shopping mall, you need to make sure that you're armed. You know, you always have to think about scenarios ahead of time. And some people might find it kooky, but unfortunately, that's something that we need to do. We need to live in condition yellow. If you saw a gang of people in a fight, you wouldn't walk towards them. So you got to think about scenarios. If you know you're going to a political rally, there's going to be some heated debate. There's going to be a possibility that something bad could happen and go down. When you're in the rally, you know you got Secret Service and guys with guns protecting you. But when you leave, as we've witnessed lately with this Donald Trump rallies, people getting attacked in the streets, they're not living in condition yellow. They're not thinking of these scenarios. And that's what you have to do. You know, the unfortunate part about this event that happened in Orlando is that it really, really would have been hard to prevent or stay safe from this. And let me tell you why. And this is this preliminary information that I've learned.
Okay.
At that particular club, they wanted and checked people. When I say wanted, it was a metal detector, and checked people for any kind of weapons when they went inside. So, and they actually had an armed, I think it was an off-duty police officer, from what I've heard, out front. So that's a pretty safe place. You think of any place you're going to be, that might be it going into it. And evidently, this madman went in and took his rifle, shot the guy in the front, and this went right in and started killing people. I mean, that's a scary scenario that was very well thought out and very well planned. And 50 innocent souls have passed away and possibly more in the hospital. So in that particular scenario, it's really hard, man. I mean, other than not being there, if you put yourself out in a club at 3 o'clock in the morning with hundreds of people there, man, the potential is gonna be there to get hurt. And I'm not saying don't enjoy your life. I'm just saying think about what you're doing. Think real seriously. If you do go to a club like that, find the exit and hang out at the exit. Hang out by an exit. Because if you were hanging out by an exit and you weren't too drunk and something went down like that, you could bolt it, and that's probably how certain people survive. You know, and that's just an unfortunate thing. These terrorists are well thought out. They know exactly where to hit us.
Yeah, and you know, it's you're taking if you're actually thinking about it and you want to go to a club, you're taking a calculated risk that
Absolutely.
something like this, or even let's say, because there's been times when there's been fires at clubs or malls or that kind of stuff, and people have gotten trampled. So it's not just about
Great White concert years ago. I remember when all those people died in that club because of the fire and the pyrotechnics. So I mean, and that's true. If you're gonna go to a sports event, a concert, a club, I mean, you're putting yourself. You just got to think it out, man. You got to think. You know, what am I gonna do? Where's the exit? And it's not paranoia. It doesn't mean you can't relax and have a couple beers and chill out. And you're not walking around like a mobster all the time. And that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about just keeping it in your mind and thinking about it and having a plan. If you go to a club or you go to a concert with a few people, say, hey, listen, if anything goes down, we're going to meet here. We're going to meet here. And that's just a little thought on it. We're going to go out this exit. We're going to come down. All right, no, let's go have a good time. And when something does happen in a scenario, whether it be a storm, a hurricane, a fire, an active shooter situation, when people make a plan, even a simple plan, and something does happen, that plan becomes so important. Imagine if you were at work and some kind of disaster happened or some kind of terrorist attack happened, and like on September 11th of 21, cell phones didn't work and you couldn't talk to your wife and your kid or your friend, right? But you knew you had a plan. How important would that plan now be? Oh, I know my wife and my kid are going to be here. I know they're going to be there, and that's all you can think about. So that's why having some kind of small plan, even a simple one, is so paramountly important.
Yeah, I 100% agree. So, you know, the second thing is if a regular person, a school teacher, a banker, a construction worker, wants to take the first step, what do you recommend? Self-defense classes, go get a gun. What do you recommend as the first step?
First, it's kind of funny when people ask me that, because there are a lot of people want to dip their toes in the water, but they don't know where to go. And sometimes when they dip in their toes in the water, they run into some kooky rednecky kind of guy that wants to talk about killing people and this and that. And that's not at all true. One thing I want to say, first of all, owning a gun does not make you safe. It doesn't. It doesn't.
Okay.
It's just like owning a hammer doesn't make you a carpenter. Okay. So it's very important. If you want to really take a first step, you need to find a confident instructor, and don't be afraid to call around, call on the phone and talk to the instructor, get a feel for the instructor. I mean, you don't want, R. Lee Ermley going, you major malfunction, you need to get a damn good, you don't want that guy. You want somebody who's contemporary, well thought out, experienced, that's going to talk to you about real world scenarios and kind of ease you into it. What we do, we obviously at RangerProof, and I'm not trying to just promote the company, but we do teach a multitude of classes. We teach an amazing concealed weapons permit class, which talks about the laws and the can and don'ts and whatnot. But we also talk about the mindset of carrying a gun, the practicality of carrying a gun. And then we offer a follow-up class that gets into the craft of carrying a gun, how to properly operate a gun, how to use one. A gun is an incredible and valuable tool, but it's something that needs to be taken very, very seriously. So getting proper training is very important, and doing a little bit of homework and finding the right kind of training. Don't go to the gun show and get the $25 cattle trough concealed weapons permit class, because they stink.
Yeah, I was just going to say that I don't think people actually realize the minimums of getting a concealed weapons permit are not enough.
Oh, not enough at all. I mean, our concealed weapons permit class, we charge $85. Now we've got current active attorneys that help teach that class. We've got incredibly confident firearms instructors, including combat veterans. So, I mean, we charge a little bit more for our classes, but you get a hell of a lot more. You get real advice.
$85 is not that much. I paid $250 for a 2-day class.
Well, we do, and we teach after that. We teach a follow-up class, which is about using a gun, and our class is really, really tough. We teach you, it's about blood, snot, and teeth, man. It's about using that gun to kill people. It's not a joke, because that's the bottom line, how to carry it, how to safely carry it, using what you just learned about the laws and whatnot. So then also we have some classes that we've ran in the past that we're going to start doing again, with the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Tampa guys, who are Rob Kahn, who started Gracie Jiu-Jitsu in Tampa, was the first black belt from Royce Gracie in America. His manager, Brock Hooten's a 9 combat tour Army Ranger. And they actually have a fighting system based around Gracie that they teach in a 1 or 2 day course. That's a hand-to-hand course that we teach. We have courses with Louis Crudo. He's a relatively well-known knife designer and martial artist that teaches blade on blade. Then a lot of the classes I actually personally teach are preparedness classes. And then my preparedness classes, I teach you how to active shooter, something we touch on. If you're in a disaster and you're away from home, how do you get home? What do you pack? What do you carry? What kind of gear do you need? What are the laws? What are the ramifications? All right, when you're at home, how do you prepare your house? What do you actually need, in case of a disaster emergency? So we really have a full comprehensive amount of classes and things that we teach to help responsible citizens live a better life. And that's our deal, man. We're not, bearded tactical guys and trying to do cool muzzle flips and all that. I mean, we've got some great combat vets that work for us, but at the end of the day, we don't even use the word tactical. I mean, because we're fathers, we're husbands, we just want people to live better lives, brother. That's it.
So these are all, if you're in the Tampa area, what are some online resources, or do you guys offer some online resources for someone who either doesn't have those resources in or around them, or want to start something that's online, or a course, or information?
Well, just from my personal company, we take our show on the road. So we do teach classes in different areas. And if anybody ever wants to put a class together in a particular area and can guarantee a certain amount of students, we'll come wherever and teach that kind of class. But if not, in most of your major metropolitan areas, there are confident instructors. I would say for people to go online and you look and start with the NRA, because there's more NRA instructors out there than anything, and kind of call major gun shops or shooting ranges and just talk to the people. I think most people have the wherewithal to talk to somebody for 5 minutes and know if that's going to be the guy for them or the lady for them or not.
Okay.
I mean, and be honest about your level where you're at. So many women don't, but men, a lot of men come out, oh, I know how to shoot. I'm, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, no, you don't, bro. I mean, so many guys come out there that have been shooting for years. Shooting a gun, owning a gun, shooting a gun, and fighting with a gun are different things. Right? It's like saying, I own a hammer. I know how to hit a nail on the head. Right? But I can't go out and build a house because I'm not a carpenter. Right? It's the same thing with a firearm. If you go to the range, you get a gun, somebody shows you how to use it, you stand in front of a piece of paper at 20 yards and you shoot a group that's nice and tight like that. That's like getting in a car, starting it, put it in gear and driving straight for a quarter mile saying I'm a driver. It's not the same. Right. And that's kind of what we teach. We teach how to carry a weapon, how to deploy it, ramifications of using a weapon, shooting from different positions, what to do after there's an incident. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. But besides us, there's a multitude of confident instructors out there. And if anybody is really looking for some and they don't know, they can email me at Donne, DON, at RangerProof.com. And I'll absolutely try to steer them in the right direction through our network of instructors. I mean, at the end of the day, brother, it's not just about me trying to make money. We're not trying to inflate our egos. We're trying to help people. And if by proxy we can sell some of our American-made products that are world-class, hey, man, that's awesome too.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hey, man, thank you so much for taking the time today. I know you guys are probably busy today with everything that's going on. Stay safe, and everybody out there, please seek those resources and have situational awareness. You got anything, that you want to end with?
I'm heartbroken, man, that 50 people in my backyard were slaughtered and nobody could do nothing about it. And let me just tell you, there's going to be more coming down the road. We see it, we feel it. It's not going to get any better. Do something, please.
Yeah.
Go seek out some kind of training. You got to protect yourself. Nobody's going to do it for you.
Well, amen. Thank you so much, Shadow Warriors. Please check out your resources, and thank you so much, Donnie.
All right, Eugene. My pleasure, brother. All right, stay safe.